and the votes have been lockstep for the past year. But always putting my teacher hat on, I want to use this as a teaching moment for not just those of you guys in the audience, but for those online, and especially our students watching. Everything that you have seen happen in this room over the past 2 years is why voting is important. Statistically, people do not vote for school board elections, but local elections, especially school board elections, have the most direct and immediate impact to your day-to-day life. So bearcounty.org, that is Bear with an X, has everything you need to check your voter registration and voter information, especially for the upcoming elections. Early voting for March 2026 starts on February 17th. Now let me put my professor hat on. What has happened in this room is a perfect case study on the persuasive power of media, specifically social media, and the lack of critical news and media literacy skills in our community. This community has elected a school board that governs on Facebook, fueled by faceless, cowardly, anonymous statements, mostly grammatically incorrect, which in turn has evolved into a community that doesn't trust public schools or its leaders. If this board is all about hiring consultants to fix issues, I implore you guys, y'all need to start hiring comms people, media people, and PR professionals to fix the problem y'all have created. You gutted the PR team here. Only one of us or one of y'all have taught in the classroom, so you understand it more than anybody. Your actions, how you guys talk to each other, your physical behavior in the district are having cascading negative impacts. I've been around for a minute, and I've never seen this district and the morale and the reputation of this district as bad as it is. And it's on the shoulders of you guys. It's as if y'all's ideology aligns with a group of people that are trying to dismantle public education. This is my umpteenth time speaking here. It takes a lot of courage for people to talk and for people to be on the record, and public speaking is feared by more than anything. And I do it because I want to be on the right side of history, to be a voice for the advocates of public education and teachers, counselors, coaches, and more importantly, paras, nutrition staff, bus drivers, custodial staff, maintenance, subs, people in the trenches that make this district run for a community that I invested in. I'll end with this. Please let me finish. Especially now, so many adults say, I don't care about politics. I don't pay attention. Right now is probably time to be an adult and pay attention about politics. Your silence is complicit. This right here is what chaos and frankly racism looks like.
Well, good evening, board. Once more, we're here. I can't tell you how disappointed I am in so many of you. First, there's still that $35 million gorilla that's sitting in the middle of this room about where the budget is. But let's talk about optics. What does this look like? How does it smell? How does it taste? I have some choice adjectives I could use, but I'm just going to say bad. You look bad. You make me look bad. You make the district look bad. You make all the hard work people do look bad. You want to get rid of somebody, it's time to step up. Then you have a private conversation with them and you go, I'm disappointed in your level of performance or whatever it happens to be. And you tell them, we'd like to find a graceful way for you to exit. I think it's time for your tenure to be over. And that's how these things are handled, but not here. How does it look? It looks like you couldn't get him rid of him, you couldn't get rid of him, you couldn't get rid of him, and then the next day, emails appeared. Were they referred to a grievance process?
No.
No, we didn't. So we spent God knows how much money on an investigation, but whatever. That'll be public record soon enough. So what does it look like? It looks like perhaps, don't know it because I have no knowledge of this, but what does it look like, the optics? It looks like you're hiding behind privacy laws to make up whatever slander you want and then tell nobody about it and nobody has to find out about it. I wish Dr. Fields would come and say, please, I would like it all to be out here. What I want you to do is search your consciences. You know what this is. If it's not slander, it's not slander, then and he's done something horrible that needs to be get rid of him. I'll support you 100%. But how does it look? How does it taste? How does it smell? Bad. I hope all of you sleep well tonight. Think about what you're doing. You're driving down morale. You think this is a better district now than it was 6 months ago when you arrived? I don't either. I was hoping to find a home here. I've been here, this is my 4th year. I don't know that I'll be here next year, or not that that makes any difference to this district, not what I'm saying, but I'm not the only one saying this. Don't lose your top people because they can't trust. Public education, you have a compact with all the teachers here. We're the worst paid professionals in the entire nation. We have a compact that's built on trust. And we can't trust you right now. And if we can't trust you, then you can't govern us very well. Do better. Thank you.
And our next is Mr. Wayne Harper.
Let me be absolutely direct. You should not terminate Dr. Fields without clearly demonstrated, documented good cause presented through a process the public can respect. Trust cannot be built behind closed doors. Trust is built when leaders stand before their community and say, here are the standards, here's the evidence, here's the process. Here is how we protect students and staff while maintaining fairness. Right now, the public has heard nothing that remotely explains what good cause means in this situation. We've been told only that Dr. Fields was placed on paid administrative leave pending an investigation into unnamed, unspecified reported concerns. That is not transparency, that is not accountability, and it is certainly not enough to evaluate whether this board is acting responsibly or politically. This silence creates chaos, it fuels rumors, it destabilizes campuses already dealing with a budget crisis, staffing shortages, and community frustration. And it sends a dangerous message to every educator in this district that leadership can be dismantled in the dark without standards, without explanation, and without fairness. So tonight, I'm stating 3 expectations clearly, firmly, and on the record. First, if there is truly good cause, prove it. Provide the fullest transparency the law allows. You can protect confidential information while still explaining the framework, but so far you have offered none. Second, do not rush to terminate a superintendent mid-contract without due process. This is one of the most consequential actions a board can take, and doing it without public clarity destroys the credibility of this entire system. If this board cannot publicly articulate the basis or the process behind this move, you should not be taking action tonight, period. Third, this board is already facing a civil lawsuit alleging Open Meeting Act violations, improper notice, lack of transparency, and even misconduct by board leadership. The mere fact that community members felt compelled to seek a restraining order against this board is a sign of broken governments, not broken leadership by Dr. Fields. Instead of repeating the same behavior, closed doors decision, vague agendas, and unexplained actions, you should correct course. Demonstrate transparency and show this community that you respect the law, respect due process, and respect the people you serve. The community deserves a board that leads with integrity and transparency, not secrecy, not political maneuvering, and not a manufactured crisis. Thank you.
Good evening. Like everybody said, we find ourselves here again. And I look at this situation really in depth. I served on this board from 2008 to 2011 as vice president. I came in on a situation similar to you guys, where there was a 4-3 split in the board, where the president didn't want to make decisions and that type of thing. I was called to action for my leadership at being a team builder, one who admires a team of 8, because you all are very significant to the process. When I came on board, there was some board members said, well, he's with them, let him sit over there. I said, I'm with no one. I'm with myself. I'm with you. And that's how we groom the board to be. and we became a team of 8. We're up to be an honor board. That's how good we got and how we gelled together. I see your divide. I see the 3 new board members lynching on you and looking to guidance from you. They are definitely looking to you. They're yearning for something, but you got to give them more than that. I found out that leadership, and I teach leadership, y'all know that, it's action, it's not a position. If you want to, leaders are born, they are made, leaders rise up within. Leaders are voted on between the members to be leaders. You just don't get that seat. The leader should be up there, should be Mr. Marcius. He's been there the longest. He has a lot to share. He has a lot to share. And really, you can put Ms. Canoia next to you. She has a lot to share. She was in the seat before you were. And y'all should have been talking about some things as far as how you direct each other and get to where you want to get. You don't have to embrace all of their ideas. All you have to do is listen. I would divide you guys. I would put him in the middle so y'all could listen to what he has to say, because you turn away from him and you don't look at it. You can see the perception. You gotta work together within the midst of what you have, because we're looking right at it. Perception is there, and we know what's up. So tonight, you're gonna put him on the island. You're gonna pay him because he's gonna get paid. You know that. That's gonna put us further in debt to where we are. We know what's going on. You set the cabinet members over here. You got 2 deputy cabinet members sitting right here. 2 deputies. One of them needs to be the next superintendent. And if that's not the case, then something's wrong. There's definitely an elephant in the room. And there's definitely something under the table that's happening. Because I know that and you know that. I know if I was up for the position, I'll be screaming and hollering. And I'll be shouting from the top of my lungs. You guys have something y'all got going on, and y'all need to fix it. Each and every one of you need to look really inside of yourself and say, what did I can do to get to know this person a little bit further? What can I do to get to know her a little bit better? And stop your little thing that you got going on. Thank you for your time.
Is Dr. Claudia Walker.
You have completed an investigation you call impartial into the allegations of wrongdoing by Dr. Milton Fields, your superintendent. But you yourselves have actually not done so. This is only what you want the public to think. Now I ask the public to watch your faces as I ask you 4 questions. I know you can't speak, but your answer will be on your face. Watch carefully, please. All right. Trustee, have you personally listened to the actual words of any of the interviews given in response to these allegations? Have you especially listened to the words of your one and only employee, Dr. Milton Fields? Have you listened to those words? Trustee, are you making your vote tonight entirely on the reports made by a third-party investigator? Trustee, was this really an impartial and fair investigation by you? Thank you all for your honest answers, those of you who could even look at me. Trustees, you are now being sued. Fighting a lawsuit is expensive. Instead of fighting it, you could settle it by not firing Dr. Fields. That would cost us no money at all. None. Instead, you'll follow Monica Ryan right out of a job. You'll prove you are unworthy of the trust of your voters, and you are ignoring their plain desire for you not to do the thing they have overwhelmingly told you not to do. But you're still going to do it. You're going to fire him tonight. And I know why you're going to do it. I know who you're following. I don't follow him. I follow Yahweh, the creator of the universe, the great I am. And he declares you tonight unfit to represent your constituents, and you are unworthy stewards of the children of this district. May TEA have mercy on us. because you have shown us none.
Okay, thank you, Ms.
My time is not up.
This is a government meeting, the government leaders. There's only a couple more ones. Okay, sorry, Mr. Judkins, did you have more to say? The audience thought we were done. Okay, your time is now done. Thank you, Ms.
Good.
And on deck is Laura Whitmire.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Claudia L. Walker. I am an early childhood special education teacher at Masters Elementary School. Good cause is on the agenda, and good cause means something. I'm here to echo what Dr. PJ mentioned to me very recently. Ensure you all end up on the right side of history.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Walker. Next up is Laura Whitmire, and on deck is Ms. Haley Thompson.
Good evening.
Okay, there. Sorry, I was waiting for the timer to reset. Please
That's
go ahead,
okay.
Ms. Whitmire.
Okay. I am here tonight because there is a reckless idea being allowed to grow. The idea that a Texas Education Agency takeover, or TEA takeover, would somehow clean things up. Ever since the superintendent investigation was announced, that idea is spreading even more. That idea is not just wrong, it is dangerous, and it shows a complete failure to understand what is actually at stake. When TEA takes over a district, democracy stops. Locally elected trustees lose their authority. The community loses its voice. Power is handed to state-appointed managers who do not live here, do not answer to voters here, and do not have to care what this community thinks. And let me be clear, that loss does not last a few months. It lasts for years, sometimes a decade or more. We do not have to guess how bad it gets. Texas has already shown us. In Houston ISD, the elected board was wiped out. Parents lost their vote. Teachers left. Staff morale collapsed. Protests filled the streets, and none of it mattered because the decision-making power was gone. Houston is still under state control today with no clear end. In El Paso ISD, state intervention dragged on for nearly 10 years. 10 years of leadership turnover, lawsuits, instability, and deep community damage. Even after TEA left, the district spent years trying to recover what was broken. In Beaumont ISD, the state ran the district directly. Voters waited years just to regain a voice, and when they finally did, many of the same problems were still there. In South San Antonio ISD, TEA involvement brought chaos, constant turnover, and long-lasting frustration for families who felt completely powerless. This is the reality of a TEA takeover. It is not improvement, it is not accountability, it is control taken away, stability destroyed, and years lost that this community will never get back. In Texas, that perception is everything. Visible dysfunction is not just embarrassing, it is an invitation. An invitation for the state to walk in, remove this board, and take control for years. This is not a game, this is not personal drama. This is about whether this community keeps its voice or loses it. Because when TEA takes over, they don't just remove board members, they take away community voices, they strip away local values, and once those are gone, this district never belongs to this district no longer belongs to the people who live here. Strong governance does not require agreement, it requires respect for process. Thank you for hearing my concerns tonight. May God bless this district and tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Haley Thompson, and on deck is Ms. Lisa Butler.
Good evening. To piggyback, I'd like to say I feel like our voices have already been taken. So sad but true. Again, we are here. I'm Jamila Naylor Thompson. I am a Judson ISD parent, taxpayer, and member of the Growth and Planning Committee. I am speaking tonight in my personal capacity, and my comments are focused on governance, process, and public trust, not personalities. This fall, I attended my first Growth and Planning Committee meeting in good faith, prepared to engage in thoughtful discussion around school closures and consolidation, decisions that deeply affect students, families, and this community. During that meeting, I was surprised by the presence and active participation of multiple board members. The community's charge is advisory, and trustee involvement in that setting raised immediate questions for me about role separation and whether committee members could freely ask questions, challenge information, or deliberate without influence. Interjections during the meeting disrupted discussions and created confusion about whether the committee was being asked to genuinely advise or to validate decisions already shaped elsewhere. At the conclusion of the meeting, I raised my concerns respectfully with the superintendent, asking why trustees are attending and participating in committee tasked with making recommendations. The explanation I received did not resolve my concern, and the interaction that followed left me discouraged about the committee's ability to function independently. Because of that experience and out of concern for governance integrity, I later raised related issues in writing with the board, seeking clarity and transparency. I was advised I would receive a response. That response never came. Since then, events have unfolded publicly in ways that underscore why process matters, especially when decisions involve leadership, finances, and long-term stability of this district. Regardless of where individual stands on tonight's vote, this moment is bigger than any one person. It is about whether Judson ISD demonstrates a commitment to lawful process, role clarity, transparency, and respect for advisory participation, even when the stakes are high. I leave you with this: fear is a liar. And in the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, the time is always right to do what's right. That's the word of Dr. Fields. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Next up is Ms. Lisa Butler, and on deck is Carolina Mencia.
So I want to reiterate who I am, because I know that there has been question on, do I have the right to stand before this board? I have 6 houses that I don't even live in, but I have 6 houses that I pay taxes on. The taxes that I pay equal a teacher's salary. So I deserve to stand here. So I shall. I am the one who initiated the lawsuit because I told you I would. There's more coming behind any decisions made. And this time it won't be for the board, it'll be for the individuals on the board, not the board as a whole. Because as y'all know, my Facebook post, it went viral again. I was able to connect the dots because I was overwhelmed with DMs from teachers, from students, from community members, from people who had something to say about the collusion of it all, the politics that went on. I was able to speak to people at TEA and the district attorney. I was able to provide proof of several things, and I was able to provide names of people willing to come forward, to step up and say what they know, what they heard, what they saw, and how they don't want to be involved, but they want to tell their story. So the one thing I can tell y'all tonight, the one takeaway you need to know about Lisa Butler standing here. I stand here, but I stand on business.
All right.
So, as I throw my hair back, there's more business to come. there's more business that will be made about this situation. So whatever decision you make tonight, you must be prepared to stand on that decision and defend that decision and everything you've done leading up to this point. Because I can make a promise to you. As I stand here before this board, you will stand in front of a court of law.
Good evening. I actually wasn't planning on speaking today, but since this is likely the final time this topic will be discussed during your meeting, I felt it was important to make sure my voice and the voices of so many others here tonight is heard. My name is Carolina Mancia, and I'm an alumni of this district. Looking around the room, it's clear I am not alone. Many people showed up today because we care deeply about this district and the decisions you're making. What we're all trying, at the very least, is to help you understand what many of us believe is that you're making a mistake. That's right. I've known Dr. Fields since I was a freshman in high school. I served on the Superintendent Student Advisory Council and was actually the chair representing Judson Early College Academy. Through that experience, I spoke with Dr. Fields many times, and even when last fall the voter-approved tax rate election was happening, I remember feeling so nervous about heading that committee, and Dr. Fields reassured me and constantly reminded me that I was doing a good job using my voice and building that kind of leadership and trust, not with just students and families, but even with everybody in the community. And honestly, based on everything that's been circulating lately, it feels like this board is acting out of self-interest rather than putting students and staff and the community first. The last time I spoke here, I asked you to put children first. Today, it feels like that message still hasn't landed. It's disappointing to see leaders become followers, to watch people align behind one voice instead of thinking independently and courageously. Leadership requires conviction, not convenience. And I'll say this respectfully and honestly, but when it's time for voters to decide whether you should continue serving in these positions, don't be surprised if many of these people choose not to re-elect you because they feel unheard. Constituents want leaders who listen, not leaders who dismiss their concerns. Also, if you truly feel bad about making a decision, then don't make it. It really is that simple. Saying you feel bad and then moving forward anyways sends the message that those words don't mean much. Accountability means aligning your actions with what you say with your value. When today's vote happens and the community is left trying to recover, trying to hold on to faith in this district after losing something many people believed in, I hope you reflect on this carefully, because when you've done this decision, there's no undo button. You still have time to think carefully about what you're doing, not for yourselves, but for the students, families, and educators who make this district what it is. And Dr. Fields, if you're watching, which I have a huge feeling you are, I wish you could see how many people are out here supporting you. Their votes do not reflect the voice of the community, and we support you. Thank you.
Good evening, my Judson ISD community. My name is Elaine Perez, and I come from a generational family of Judson ISD graduates. My father and 6 of his siblings came here. I myself are a Judson ISD graduate. I went to Judson High School, got honor cords, and I was really excited at the time when I graduated from this district because it was so strong. Judson ISD helped shape my future. The teachers I had at the time were also Judson ISD graduates. They were so inspirational, so compassionate. They fielded my interest in the medical field. I started my senior year in the Certified Nurse Aide program at only 16 years old. My teachers and coaches taught me everything and continue to inspire me even after I graduated. My former high school coach is currently a principal within this district. My aunt has been employed with this district longer than 30 years. Even after I graduated, these same individuals continue to inspire me, and I now have my master's degree. That is the Judson ISD spirit. integrity, leadership, service, and kindness. These values inspire future generations. And for many years, I have given back to Judson ISD by volunteering 20 to 40 hours a week at my children's elementary and middle school. This year, besides doing that, I have joined 3 committees: Growth and Planning, State Health Advisory, and Gifted and Talented. The reason why I'm sharing all this is to make one point clear. You will never, never find anybody more committed or passionate than a Judson ISD graduate. Dr. Milton Fields should remain superintendent of Judson ISD. Over multiple board meetings, we have heard consistent testimony supporting his character, leadership, and dedication. Teachers, principals, and staff, the people who are on the front lines, have spoken clearly about this support and strong leadership. We should be listening to them. I support our staff, and therefore I support keeping Dr. Fields as our superintendent. The failure of the Vader reflects what the community has been asking for: stability, financial responsibility, and trust. Since the change in board leadership, many community members have observed the behavior that feels divisive and clique-driven, something that was not part of any of y'all's campaign promises. The board should be focused on finding a solvency plan to address our financial challenges to ensure this district remains fiscally sound. This is what the community has repeatedly asked for. Please understand this. Every action has a consequence. If Dr. Fields is terminated, there will be a mass exodus of staff. Public trust will be broken. And for many Judson ISD families, this will be the final straw. Families will leave the district where boards operate with transparency, professionalism, and integrity. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Perez. The board will now adjourn into closed session pursuant to the following.
Ms. Ryan, point of privilege, I move that we reinstate Dr. Fields as superintendent of Judson ISD.
Next, sir, my ruling is that is not on the agenda, so it's now allowed.
It is on the agenda because we're discussing his contract. I want to reinstate him. I don't need to go into closed session and talk about it. I just need a second.
Second. Okay, we have a motion to reinstate.
And I'm willing to discuss.
I don't need any
Okay.
discussions.
Well, we're ready to discuss.
Okay.
So the reason I made this motion is because we're going to hear a lot in closed session about why we shouldn't continue on with Dr. Fields. All of it's bogus. All of it is BS. And so I don't need to sit in closed session for the next 2-3 hours debating on what the merits are. The merits are he needs to be returned. And I have cited transparently with my community my concerns with how this process played out. It was said earlier, this should have been a grievance hearing. If an employee has a complaint, they file a grievance, and the accused is allowed to address the accuser. None of that happened today. All that happened was an email was sent with allegations that could not be disproved because the other party, Dr. Fields, did not have an opportunity to rebut those accusations. So if we vote today, I have letters here to the Attorney General, the District Attorney, Justice Ethics Division, TEA, filing a formal complaint of violations of the Open Meeting Act because this behavior that happened with 3 of us being uninformed about specifics about this investigation. It cannot go, and my colleagues, you have a chance to be heroes here. This community wants you to be heroes, to be independent thinkers and to say, to do what is right. This is wrong, what we're doing. And it's an agenda by, I won't even say names, but there's an agenda here. We have responsibility to reset the clock, reinstate Dr. Fields, start over, and let's work on what we need to do, which is our budget deficit and our academics. Both of which I talked with you all. I'm agreeable to putting parameters. I'm agreeable to putting benchmarks in place. We don't treat employees like this and operate in secret with one email that alleged allegations. It is poor. So again, I'm ready to send this, but my motion still stands and I'd like to have a reinstatement.
Got your speech, Ms. Gifford, go ahead.
Not really, I don't have a speech, but I do want to say that my position in supporting Dr. Fields is not based on liking him. I do like him, I think he's a good man. It's based more on maintaining stability in the district. I think the timing of this action is very serious, and it is causing instability and turbulence, and guess who suffers from that? The students do. and our scores are gonna reflect it. I care about that. And there's a way to do this with more reason involved, with more calm. We can handle it in a much better way that doesn't just cause a great cataclysmic action in the community. It's like we're blowing it up, and we don't have to do that. It's not so vital. There's not a really good reason not to do it in the middle of the year with no CFO. We're just stripping ourselves down to weakness for no real apparent reason, no real necessary reason. So I would like to be more reasonable, and timing is part of that reasonableness. And this is bad timing. I don't feel it's responsible for us to take this action at this time. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Penoyer. I'm sorry, I didn't see the button. Go ahead, ma'am.
I didn't roll in with a prepared speech like the board president usually does, but I do have some notes here that I want to talk about. I am extremely disturbed by the entire way this whole thing was handled. There was a meeting December 9th. There were 2 Walsh Gallegos attorneys in there in that meeting, and we left with a consensus on how to move forward. Ms. Ryan can say she was tired and she doesn't remember, but I wasn't tired and I do remember. It wasn't the outcome that Ms. Ryan wanted, so she went digging. There was a meeting that was called for January 10th. 3 of us were not polled as to whether we were even available for that meeting. We were not notified about anything about that meeting until the agenda was posted. Our attorneys did not know about that meeting. There was no closed session on the meeting to discuss and bring the 3 of us up to date. Instead, there were lies that we already knew what it was, that we had received these emails, and that was a lie. 4 members showed up prepared to take action. Ms. Lee read a prepared motion that Ms. Ryan had a copy of. For this to have happened means that there was a walking quorum, which is a violation of the Open Meetings Act, which is a misdemeanor with a fine and jail time. And actions that happen during a meeting that violates the Open Meetings Act can be rescinded. Not only did all that happen, but then in the closed session, the 3 of us were not privy to any of the allegations that were alleged. We were told that there were multiple complaints. And unfortunately, I believed it. Had I known what I saw, not even the next day, as I demanded being given the actual complaints, which didn't happen until almost 2 weeks later. I would not have had the vote that I had I known what was contained in that complaint and who the complaint was filed by. Ms. Ryan refused to use our board attorneys for this investigation, even when they offered an attorney who had had no dealings with Judson ISD. She insisted that we have someone who had no connection to the district. And this is with no disrespect to the attorney who was hired. But guess what? He used to work for Walsh Gallegos and represented the board. Such hypocrisy. All the allegations that were investigated were from one complaint, one email that I did not receive. That email was dated December 18th. That is hardly a continuation of a December 9th meeting. I've devoted over 35 years to this district, and I'm sitting here on the dais in a district that I no longer recognize. I will not vote yes on anything that comes out tonight because this process is disgusting.
I just have a couple comments. I just want to, audience, we are thank you to the more than 24 employees who have come forward in the last 2 months with their complaints that were all handed over to the investigator and investigated. Not one email, and my colleagues are aware of that. I applaud your bravery for putting students first, even at personal cost to yourself. And those watching at home, you know who you are, and we commend you for coming forward for our students. There were serious concerns that rose to the level of legal good cause that was briefed to this board at the last meeting. There was also additional serious concerns, some of those impacting student safety. So I personally would like to hear those additional findings from our legal counsel that are standing by to talk to us about those new findings and the documents that have been found. So I am looking forward to adjourning the closed session and getting that update and considering all information, documents, and all of the employee complaints before we render a decision. So I recommend we do not approve this and we go into our closed session and get our complete update, and maybe that will make it clear to our colleagues. Any other discussion?
I have a rebuttal.
Go ahead, Mr. Macias.
My rebuttal is this. First off, I didn't have an organized speech. It's all from the heart. My work here as a trustee comes from the heart. I would never bring anything and have a prepared statement. It's about doing what's right. And honestly, like I said earlier, this investigation started off flawed. People were put in charge of the investigation that had decision making in it that shouldn't have been in that role. There's serious conflict of interest, and I certainly don't want to say it, but I will if need be. So my colleagues have the opportunity to do the right thing. Reinstate our superintendent. If there are serious allegations, you know what happened? They weren't brought up the last time we spoke. They kept digging for more dirt that's probably questionable to begin with because they didn't have enough with what they had. Technically, if 4 board members don't want to work with the that's pretty tough for a superintendent, and that's probably enough. But they had to go and dig more over the last week just so they could have something to say is real. It's all flawed. It's all questionable. I don't trust the ethics of some that were behind this, and I don't trust the ethics of some of my colleagues. But we do have an opportunity, again, as I've stated, to right this wrong, reinstate the superintendent. If there are concerns that Ms. Ryan wants to say that we're dug up, we can address them in a professional way and ensure that we have all sides of the story. Because what we're going to hear in there, Dr. Fields may have done A, B, C, or D. But he's not even here to defend himself. Yes. And that is what is wrong with this process. Yep. And so, Ms. Ryan, thanks for trying to do all that stuff. But bottom line is, it is not right. And if I don't make my voice heard, then I'm doing a disservice to my community. My community wants our superintendent reinstated. Right. I want my superintendent reinstated. I want to start rebuilding trust with our community. This should never have been the way. And my colleagues, I respect them, but they are still learning the process. I hate saying that because it's implying that they don't know. But there are just some things that they're learning. And so they have to realize any complaint, in the dozens that Ms. Ryan claims, I've had 100 against her. No one's going to come up and put their name up here because they're intimidated. And I know that because the investigation that I've requested is coming, and there are people ready to say some things. So you don't operate on that. One thing we've never done is operate on anonymous tips, because anybody can say anything with anonymity, and it doesn't mean it's true. It just means they can fabricate whatever they want. We are not going to be that board that operates on that. So again, I implore my colleagues, do the right thing. Let's reinstate the man and let's move forward.
Yep. Yes. Sorry. Mr. Macias, could you repeat your motion for me, please? I'm sorry, I didn't write it down. I just want to make sure we have the motion.
The motion was to reinstate.
I repeated it sometimes wrong, so I would like
to reinstate Dr. Fields back into his position as superintendent of schools.
Okay, so we had a motion to reinstate Dr. Fields as superintendent of schools by Mr. Macias, and Ms. Stamper, was that you that seconded it? Or Ms. Benoyer? I'm sorry, thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Ms. Rookie, did you, okay, you pushed the button on accident? All right. So a motion of, or sorry, a vote of yes will reinstate him as superintendent, a motion of no, then we will head into closed session. So we will clear this out. All right, proceed to vote. Oops, sorry, hold on, one more button. There we go, proceed to vote. Okay, motion fails, 3-4.
Ms. Ryan, I move that we now appoint Dr. Duarte Toppin as our interim.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Macias to have Dr. Duarte Toppin as the acting superintendent, a second by Ms. Canoyer. I motion to table until we discuss in closed session. Second. All right, we have a motion to table. No discussion allowed on the table. So right now, we are, if you vote yes, we will hold on to this until after closed session. Wait, no. Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. Sorry, my mic was off. Sorry, so now we have a motion to table and a second by Ms. Poteet. So if you vote yes on the table, then audience, we're having a really hard time hearing up here. Thank you.
We're having a hard time understanding.
Okay, sorry. A motion to table means we will take this item up after we're done with our closed session. So we will proceed to vote. 4-3. Okay, motion passes 4-3. Now we will adjourn into closed session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meeting Act. Pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with attorney regarding legal issues pertaining to the superintendent investigation, administrative leave, and the proposed termination of Superintendent Dr. Milton Fields III, employment contract during the contract period for good cause. Pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074, consider and discuss issues related to the superintendent investigation, administrative leave, and the proposed termination of Superintendent Dr. Milton Fields III, employment contract during the contract period for good cause. Pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with attorney regarding legal issues pertaining to the appointment of an interim superintendent, and pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074, consider and discuss issues related to the appointment of an interim superintendent. The time is now 6:25 and we are in closed session. All right, I put the cards on your desk. Otherwise, I didn't want to walk out.
No, she had another wireless lab, and she took it out, and then she brought the handheld.
That's still pretty low.
Yeah.
The other one was loud.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't just jump up.
No, that's fine. And whenever she finished, I was going to come turn it off, but I forgot you could just mute it.
Yeah.
It was that one. No, it was her wireless.
One of these is still generating
too much.
A little too much signal.
Well, the thing is, they all have wireless packs on them.
Yeah, no, that was the problem. It's close to this.
Yeah.
The idea is
I spread them out and way.
the only way to do that would be to extend this out. Time over here.
Russ is even texting me.
Yeah. Well, I know. And I was texting her. I was texting her saying, bad noise.
Well, and I heard a little something that I looked at mine and was like,
Sorry about that, Nels. One of these was like
the wrong mic. That wasn't my mic. I was like, which one was it?
Yeah, I wasn't sure which one it was.
This one was like that. It was almost touching it, and I knew.
What I was saying is if they do it going forward, it should be in the pack, should be shoved way over here. And you can leave this close. That's just a microphone.
Last time they tried to clip that on here.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that. But they can put their mics like right here. Now, if you move the packs over here, it's not so close to the radio center. And this blocks some of the signal. It's just radio magnetic.
I'm learning way too much that I don't need to know. This is stuff I don't need to know. It's still more than I need to know. And they should know what to do with their equipment. So it doesn't interfere with downloads.
Should be a lot more people.